Welcome to Wealth Wednesdays. Wednesdays, we go live 12 p.m. every single Wednesday, Eastern Standard Time. I'm Seth Ferguson. Really happy you are joining us today. We are talking about recessions because a recession is coming or it's already here. Whether or not that's the case, it doesn't really matter. What really matters is what you are going to do with the opportunity that it presents you in the next 6 months. How are you going to invest your money to take advantage of the opportunity the market is giving you? My very good friend, Erwin Szeto, is joining us in a little bit. But first, I want to talk to you a little bit about framing the market, framing the situation right now. What is the opportunity that is at hand? So companies are pausing hiring right now. We've seen a whole bunch of major companies are pausing. Office space is in trouble as a whole entire sector. That's softening up as more units are coming online. But there's uncertainty in the marketplace. The media is doing their thing, and whatever happens in the market, there is opportunity. So Warren Buffett has a really great quote. He's like, be fearful when others are greedy, be greedy when others are fearful. And that fear meter is starting to tick the other way. So now we have to start opening our eyes and figuring out, what are we going to do? What are we going to create with the opportunity the recession is giving us? So the USA, the United States, is already in recession. They hit that marker in the summer of 2022. Canada is likely going to be there very, very soon. The yield curve is inverted. And whenever that happens in Canada, a recession follows 60% of the time. So let's head over to the whiteboard. I want to draw a couple things out for you guys right here. So I was looking at some stats the other day, and I found some really interesting things. So let's first draw out the yield curve. So the yield curve kind of looks like this. I'm going to try and do it as best as I can. And then we've got down here. Okay, so this is the current state of the yield curve, and we've got, this is short-term bonds right here. This is longer-term bonds. So if you're not sure what a yield curve inversion means, it's the way the market is looking at the future and valuing risk. So typically, a shorter-term bond, a 2-year bond, is cheaper than a long-term bond, because the market knows that in the short term there's less opportunity for things to go wrong. It's a shorter time frame. I'm more confident in the short-term prospects of the economy rather than the long-term prospects. But when the yield curve inverts, that means that the market is pricing the long-term bond cheaper than the short-term bond. So the 10-year is less expensive than the 2-year. And generally, like I said, in Canada, a recession follows 60% of the time. So like I said, the US is already in recession. They hit that marker in the summer. And, the saying goes in Canada, when the USA gets sick, Canada catches a cold. So whether or not we're already in recession, you can debate that point. But the fact is that something is coming. Choppy waters are ahead for Canada, and that's going to present a whole lot of opportunity for investors, whether it's in real estate, whether it's in stocks, whether it's in private equity, you name it. There's a whole lot of opportunity coming. So one of the things I really wanted to focus on today was 2008. That's the Great Recession, the big one, probably the biggest one, that we will see in our lifetimes, and how everything reacted, how different segments of the population, depending on what they were investing in, what they were doing, how it impacted them and their wealth, coming out of the recession in terms of recovery. Because until I started looking at the stats into this a couple days ago, I didn't really understand the full impact of what you're investing in, what you're doing with your money, and how that really impacts your net worth coming out of a recession. So I didn't know this. So the average American household, so we'll just call this the average American household. So average right here, they lost 25% of their net worth in the Great Recession, in the 2008 crash. That's huge. A quarter of your net worth, poof, gone. But then when we look at the top 20%, the top 20% only lost 14% of their net worth. So almost double in terms of the average American household. So the top 20%, they were doing something different with their money. They had a different strategy. They were thinking about money a different way, because, they took a 14% haircut. That might seem bad, but compared to 25%, that's not bad at all. So what are these people doing differently than the average American household, where they lost 25% of their net worth? Now, this is where things got really interesting, because it's one thing to look at, how things are, when the market's sliding down, but the recovery is what really matters, because that's where a lot of people made their money. So let's fast forward to 2015. Okay, so we'll fast forward 2015 here. So in the years between 2009 and 2015, this is what really opened my eyes. So the top 1% in the USA, their income grew 37% between the years 2009 and 2015 in the recovery following the recession. Now, everyone else, the other 99%, all lumped in together, their income only grew 7.6%. I think that's staggering. This was a big eye opener for me. Losing a quarter of your net worth versus the 14% of the top 20%. But this is the big eye opener. Coming out of the recession, the big recovery, 37% increase in income for the top 1% of Americans, and only a 7.6% increase for everybody else. And then when you really, divide those numbers up as you keep going down, the lower you go, the less and less and less it gets. So, what were the top 1% of people doing that everybody else wasn't doing? Well, and let me erase this right here. They were investing, they were using their money a lot differently than everybody else. So the wealthiest people, they were invested in three main categories. So they had securities, they were invested in stocks, and they had business equity. So when you look at the graph, and these charts are really interesting. So when you look at, the top 1% of investors, what were they doing with their money? Let's say this is the bar chart right here. So you'd have, their income coming in, the regular income. Now, about half of it, give or take, depending on the segments you look at, this was the investment side. So this is where you get, the securities, the stocks, and the business equity. So securities, that can be, whether it's commercial real estate, it can be other types of investments, private equity. Then you have stocks, and then you have, business equity, like businesses that they own. So almost 0.5% of their total income or their total net assets, their net worth was made from investments. This part was active income down here. Now, when we go over to everybody else, your typical middle class home, you have a sliver right here of investments. And then everything else is active income. So this is where you get the huge disparity in coming out of the recession and into the recovery phase of the market. So the rich people had investments, they had assets that they owned. This is the key between the 37% increase and the 7.6% increase. So rich people, we know, have assets, and it worked out hugely, heavily in their favor. So I've got a couple other stats I really want to share with you guys. So the middle class, during 2008, the Great Recession, the middle class, it turns out they were 7 times more exposed to the housing bubble and the collapse than the wealthier families. So 7 times. Now you have to ask yourself, why? Because the rich people, we know rich people invest in real estate. Like, that makes up a big chunk of their portfolio. And that comes in the forms of securities right here and other real estate they own. But why is it that the middle class, the average family right here, where they lost a quarter of their net worth in 2008 and their net income only increased about 7.6% in the recovery phase? What kind of real estate? Why is it different? Why were they 7 times more exposed than the rich people? Well, it's the type of real estate they were investing in. So the middle class, they owned a home, right? They owned a regular residential property, and a lot of people, they had other investment properties. So they owned maybe 1 other property, 2, 3 other properties. They were small-time landlords. Now, the rich people on the other side, they owned a crap ton of real estate, but it was a different type of real estate. It was commercial real estate, and commercial real estate is really like a business that just happens to be tied to the land, right? So, if it's an apartment building, you have income coming in the form of tenants, you have your expenses, you have staff on site. That's a business, and that business just happens to be in the business of renting, units to people. Same thing with office space. Same thing with industrial, right? You own an industrial building. That's a business because you have your tenant that's paying you revenue. You have your expenses. Maybe it's Amazon. Maybe it's another, drop ship type of operation. That is your customer right there. That's very different from a residential property. So the middle class, they were 7 times more exposed to the housing bubble and the collapse, not because they were investing in real estate, because both sides, the rich people and the normal people, the average American, they were both investing in real estate, but it was just a different type of real estate that they were investing in. So now today we are facing another problem, not just the prospect of a recession. We are also facing inflation. Inflation is a huge topic right now, and it's a really big problem. And the central banks are trying to get this under control by raising rates. Like that's basically the only button they can push right now is raising rates, and that's going to lead us to some other problems down the road. So let's talk about inflation. So what happens to the earned income when inflation hits? So remember how we had the 2 graphs? We had the rich people, and we had the average people, and we had the chart that I just erased, even though I probably shouldn't have. So we've got investments right here, and then up here, the average people, this made up their investments right here. That was it. Everything else was earned income. So we can say, let's say it's like 95% of their net worth is through their active income, their savings, and all that stuff. What happens to this chunk right here when inflation hits 6%? Or 7% or 11%. What's happening? Well, if you have $100 and inflation is eroding 11% a year from your net worth, from your savings, you're losing $11. You've only got 89 cents left, or $89 left out of that $100. Every single year is chipping away. The rich people, on the other hand, because they've got about half of their net worth in investments act a little differently because it's an asset. And that's exactly what Erwin and I will be talking about as we come back in a little bit. We are going to be focusing on what you can do, how you can model the rich people and actually put your money to work in investments. So inflation, even though it's a really big problem, it won't impact you as much. It may actually work in your favor. And there's a couple different things that you can do to actually put inflation on your side, which is exactly what the rich people do, and not be like the average American in 2008, where you lost half of your a quarter of your net worth, and then you didn't really participate in the upside of the market, the recovery of the market, and you were stagnating at 7.6%, whereas the rich people had 37% increase in their income. That is absolutely huge. So really looking forward to getting into this with Erwin as we get back. So I think the question is, what assets are you going to buy? What assets are you going to invest in so you can be like the rich people and not like the average person? Because I don't know about you, but I want to be on the rich column and not act like an average person and take a huge hit. Like nobody knows how bad the upcoming recession will be. There's a lot of forecasts in terms of it's going to be relatively mild, but nobody knows. All I know is I want to change my mindset and start doing things like rich people rather than average people on this side of the column. So a couple things, I'll go back over here to the chart. So a couple things I want to mention real quick. So we do have a contest on right now. So what I want you to do is like this video and comment. And once a month, we are going to be drawing somebody who likes one of these live streams and also leaves a comment. We are going to be drawing a loaded elite ticket to the multifamily conference coming up May 26th to 28th, 2023 with Grant Cardone, Alex Rodriguez. We are giving away a free loaded elite ticket. All you have to do is like and comment the video, and you can enter for a chance to do that. So make sure you like the video, make sure you comment on the video, and hopefully you win the ticket and you can come for free to the multifamily conference. So coming up right after the break, we've got Erwin Szeto joining me. Really excited to have him on. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. All right, Erwin, so excited to have you on here. Really nice to see you. How's things going?
Busy,
Oh,
but
I can
I'm amped
imagine.
after that commercial.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm amped up for the Wealth Hacker Conference. That's coming up this Saturday, actually, in Toronto. I'm definitely going to have a booth there. Really excited. You've got, I think you have Jess Lietzer coming, right? He's the main speaker.
Yeah, he's Jesse's pretty cool. Got some great stories to share. A hell of a speaker, hell of a life experience to share. Like he's a living embodiment of building out a life resume that one can be proud of.
Yeah, no, I'm so pumped. And then I think I was one of the first people to get a VIP ticket, so I'm really excited to meet Jesse. Do you actually do you have any VIP tickets left if somebody wants one?
We have a small handful left, and I don't a lot of the VIPs don't even know yet is that there is an after party. We only
Oh, sweet.
finalized. I don't even know if you knew.
No, I know.
So there is an after party now. After everyone's done having a chance to meet with Jesse, get their picture taken, say hi. We'll be walking over to a restaurant for just with the VIPs. So yeah, there
Nice.
are. Yeah, and there's a VIP lunch, of course, with just the VIPs. So it's an exclusive experience, and that's what VIPs want, and that's what we're here to deliver.
Nice. Well, I definitely want to talk a little bit more about the Wealth Hacker Conference in just a little bit. But first, we've got this upcoming recession, this looming recession. It might be here, it might not be here. Everybody's kind of divided. I wanted to get your take on it and, really understand how you're approaching this, potential opportunity, because, there's some people who are scared. Some people are kind of excited. I guess my first question is, should you be scared right now?
Well, I'm scared, but I'm always scared.
Yeah.
I am like the Chicken Little of real estate investing. I've been scared from the very beginning, and that's why I'm so keen on always researching and networking with other investors, uh, interviewing other investors. I read a lot. I read a lot of news. I'm always talking to people who are doing things, people with a lot of experience, to find out where the market's at and what they're doing, and also, to be honest, where people are losing money, because I want to know how they lost money and I want to know the lessons from it. So yeah, I'm always scared.
So okay, so you're always scared,
Yeah.
maybe a little bit more so now. How do you actually regulate your emotions as an investor, right? Because you're invested in a couple different niches, I guess you could say. So how do you actually regulate yourself so you're not kind of panicking all the time?
Right. That's a really good question because I have a lot of fear. So,
Yeah.
so to usually address my own fears is to answer my questions, right? Like for my question right now is, for example, should I be invested? Should I be getting more investments? And so I have a lot of questions. So I do a lot of research on economics, where things are in the world. If anyone thinks that our recession is going to be bad, they should meet the Europeans, our European friends that relied on Russia for oil and gas. And I can go on forever, but we're in Canada. This is like the most woke country there is. Not the most woke, but if you're going to talk about a big oil producing country, you probably can't get more woke than Canada. Yet we can't get our oil out of the ground into our friends in Europe. But anyways, yeah, I
Yeah.
digress. But yeah,
That's another topic for
that's
another
another
day.
topic. And that actually is a really good point. What does the world need a lot of? They need food. They need oil. They need natural gas for heating. What do we have a lot of in Canada?
A whole bunch of that stuff.
Well, yeah, it's just
Yeah.
just hopefully someone won't tax the crap out of it and worsen
Well,
the
yeah.
recession.
Yeah, well, that's yeah. So I guess um, how are you approaching then your overall investment portfolio? Because but before we took the break, I was talking about how the rich people, how the top
Hmm.
1%,
Hmm.
they were heavily invested. About 50% of everything they were bringing in was through
Hmm.
investments. So they had
Hmm.
securities, stocks, business equity.
Hmm.
You've got stocks, you do stock options, you've got your real estate.
Hmm.
How are you divvying that up? Like, do you have any rules of thumb you're following?
I'm heavily real estate because I can heavily influence my real estate investments. My real estate investments, I treat them like businesses. So
Yeah.
anything that I can directly influence, I believe I can create more value, add more value than anything else. And then to add to what you're talking about, inflation and my fears. Inflation has always been a fear in my life. So what are you going to do? Just sit there and stuff your cash under your mattress, right? It's like the opposite of things to do. I bought hard assets, which were I bought real estate that provided cash flow, right? And my tenants pay off my mortgages. So like I don't know of another hard asset that's self-liquidating. So I have lots of fear, but then I take action to address my fears. And then one of my fears now is climate change is whatever people believe about climate change, whatever. There's too much rain. I have a property that seems to be flood prone, so I'm going to sell it. I'm going to sell for a bunch of money. I bought right, otherwise, because it's a student rental. I bought a student rental because it spits off a ton of cash. It's recession proof because in recessions, people tend to go to school more. Even though the pandemic was difficult, a lot of landlords got out. Mm-hmm. So I have something that's an incredibly short supply. So my rents are going up like 40, 60%. And there's nothing else out there to buy. And because rents are so high, all these rich parents are going to want to buy my house. So I'm going to happily sell it to them. I'm going to make a bunch of money. I'm going to pay down part of my mortgage. And I'm going to wait for a deal. Right?
Yeah. And it's, the interesting thing is as affordability, as interest rates go up, that makes it harder for first time buyers to enter the market. More people will actually turn into tenants. So that adds to the tenant pool. And then the other thing I should mention too is, you have debt on the property, like you have mortgages on your real estate, yes. But as inflation chips away, inflation's actually eroding the impact of your debt, which is another interesting thing too.
Yeah. And to add to that, Cherry and I are pretty conservative investors. Part of it was that we're lucky enough to get in early as we did. So our investment portfolio's loan to value is only 50%. So
wow,
I'm very insulated.
That's very good. Yeah.
So we're quite insulated. Not perfectly insulated. We're not happy about our payments going up, but again, we will be in a good position to take advantage. Like the banks love us. Because again, I'm so fearful. So I try to do everything I can to make myself go look good to the bank, including house hack. My Cherry and I've been house hacking since 2013, 2014, right? We've rented out part of our house to generate more income and keep our costs down. So, and also you can talk to your own accountant, but there's some tax benefits to that as well when you're renting out your home.
For sure. Or you can call Cherry. And
yes, you can call Cherry.
Yeah. So with the Wealth Hacker Conference coming up this Saturday in Toronto, do you have anybody covering the real estate investing side if somebody wants to get into it and kind of learn what's working right now?
Yes, that will be me. Sorry, folks, we couldn't get Grant Cardone. He's a lot more expensive than I do. But straight data. I've done over 400 million in real estate transactions. I have close to 500 clients. I've collected 4 awards as being Realtor of the Year to investors. We've done over 100 student rentals. We've done probably over 100 duplex conversions. There are very few people who have as much experience as I have. And, in this world as well, my message, my inbox and DMs are full of people who are bankrupt. And these are other people's clients. These aren't mine. I'm just trying to help out. My clients are doing wonderful. Even though they complain, straight up. I complain. I don't like having to pay rents. Pay higher rates. My clients, none of them likes paying higher rates. But their net worth is wonderful. No one's going to complain about that.
Well, you know what it is? They have the time to complain because they have time to actually sit there and think about it. So,
yeah. But, like the saying, more money, more problems. But what would you rather have? Would you rather have more money problems, as in like because you have more money, or would you rather, be ignorant to all this? And then my friends from like school, for example, who don't invest, they all worry about how their kids are going to get a home, right? I don't worry about that. My kids will be fine, right?
Yeah.
I bought them each a house as their RESP, real estate saving plan.
That's awesome. And so, okay, so let's switch gears then from real estate Because then we have the other things, right? We've got stocks and business equity. Those were the two other big chunks that the top 1% were investing in. So with the stock market, right? You're a big stock hacker. You own a bunch of stocks. What steps are you taking right now to really prepare yourself for? We've already had choppy waters, but like, how are you preparing for the future?
I left a bunch of money on the sidelines, so I have close to 6 figures cash just waiting. It sucks that sitting in cash, it's being devalued by inflation.
Yeah.
But there's many ways to lose money in this market.
Yeah.
It could be worse.
Yeah, you could have invested in Peloton.
Yeah. I canceled my Peloton. That's why I tanked.
Yeah.
Yes, we both have battle scars from Peloton.
Yeah.
And many lessons from that as well. But again, I have cash deliberately sitting on the sidelines because I think this market will keep sliding. My mentor, Derek Foster, is heavily cash. He was about 60% cash probably like a week or two ago. He's since started dabbling. And what's cool about Derek is Derek's up about 5% on the year.
Oh,
so he's
wow.
actually, I know, it's impressive. He's actually beating Warren Buffett. Berkshire Hathaway is probably around 1, maybe 2 on the year, which is still fantastic. Warren Buffett's absolutely killing the market. But my mentor and our speaker at the conference, Derek Foster, 6-time best-selling author, is beating pretty much everyone. I don't know anyone he's not beating in the stock world. And his investing is very boring. So I asked him specifically, share with our audience, what did you do? Why did you make those decisions to exit as many positions as you did? His buy and hold stock positions that he said he'd hold forever. And what is he buying now? Because he started buying now already. And what is his plans for the future?
Yeah, I know my fiance Darcy, she's coming with me. I got her a VIP ticket as well for Wealth Hacker, and she's really interested in hearing Derek Foster speak because like I've been talking to her a whole lot about like the stock options and everything. She hasn't really come in yet, but I think on Saturday like she's going to listen to Derek and kind of hear his take on it and how he approaches it. And I think she'll be like jumping in right after that. So that'll be really
absolutely
exciting. Yeah.
Like a good friend of mine, Brian, he came on my podcast and shared him and his wife retired because of their stock investments right after the 2008-2009 crash. Right? When everyone's fearful for a good reason, but some people can get really rich. Over the next decade.
Yeah. Well, we saw that when I was like, I had no idea about these stats, like a 37% income increase for the top 1% because they were invested in stocks, securities, and business equity. And then everybody else was their income increased only 7.6% from 2009 to 2015. That's crazy. That's totally absolutely crazy. Nuts. Yeah. And then, with stock hacking for myself, like I was able to buy an engagement ring, like a really nice engagement ring for Darcy, and it paid for my back surgery when my back was broken. So I would encourage it if you're just kind of right now listening and you're kind of sitting on the fence, get your ticket to Wealth Hacker because it will definitely open your eyes. I remember the first Wealth Hacker conference. I was blown away. What year was that, Erwin? That was
2019.
Before. Right. Whoa,
we got it off before the pandemic.
Yeah, and I was just blown away with what other people are doing with their money, and just talking with other people in the audience and just seeing their take, how they were investing, and I can honestly say it changed my outlook on how I approach wealth and my net worth and how I'm managing everything. So yeah, like if you're on the fence, and you're not doing anything on Saturday, or if you have something, cancel it and come out to Wealth Hacker. I think you just go to wealthhacker.ca and there's a sale on right now, Erwin, I think.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Last chance. One word. Last chance. 40% off. And you get a mug. Actually, this one right here that I'm using.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, I'll have to get my mug from you then. I'll have it on my desk.
We'll get you a mug.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
But I want to say something about the mug because it says invest to live. For all of us who've been to the Caribbean before, this is how I thought of this tagline was we've all been to the Caribbean before, and I love how the Caribbean people live. They work to live, right? Once they're done work, they have great lives, right? That's not a reality for us North Americans.
No, definitely not.
If you just work, you're gonna go broke, right? So no one wants to live to work because we're not slaves. So my belief is you have to work to invest and only through investing will you actually live. Right. So
Yeah.
that's why Mug says invest to live.
You know what? Send me that mug, because to be totally honest, I struggle with that sometimes. So I Darcy's always on me to, like, it's like, Seth, you're working all the time, but like, you have to like take time for family and everything, because like I get like tunnel vision, so I need that reminder on the desk, 100%.
Right. Yeah, we all need that. We need more passive stuff. So for example, like so Brian, who came on my show, he retired on dividends, so it's all cash flow and all tax free.
Yeah.
Right?
And how much is he bringing in per month passively? Are you allowed to say?
He didn't say specifically,
okay,
but you have to figure between the two of them 6 figures.
Yeah,
tax-free income.
That's awesome. And like, that's not what the average household does right now. And that's what's going to separate you from, being like your typical, statistic, versus really doing something and building some massive wealth. So
Right.
yeah, I'm super excited for Wealth Hacker.
Because 100 grand tax-free is equivalent to 170 in salary.
Yeah.
Right? Roughly.
Yeah.
Right.
Craziness.
Yeah.
So Erwin, tell me a little bit more about who else is coming to the Wealth Hacker, because we talked about stocks, we talked about real estate. You've got some other cool stuff too.
So my wife, she's pretty cool. That's what people tell me.
She's pretty cool.
So Cherry has about over 500 accounting clients. So she'll be sharing her all her partners got together and they put together a presentation. It's basically all the lessons that they gathered from their clientele, which is almost entirely real estate investors, on how people are actually going to be able to retire going forward. So this is from an accountant's perspective, who honestly likely knows better than your typical financial advisor the actual path to retirement. So she'll be sharing about that on Saturday. And also, I'm a fan of Bitcoin. So we got ourselves the leading expert, in my opinion, the leading expert on cryptocurrency, Bitcoin in Canada, in terms of speakers, in Jordan Anderson, who's Chief Operating Officer of BitBuy, which is Canada's largest crypto exchange. And,
yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Cause like, I'm not like, I can't profess to know very much about Bitcoin, but I am interested in learning more, because it's something where I've got like a blind spot right now. So, I'm really interested in hearing that. And then you also have somebody coming in to talk about some cool things you can do with life insurance.
Yes, specifically whole life. So from my experience, whole life only came into my world a few years ago, because I started hanging out with the people I met at networking events who were pretty successful, who happen to be real estate investors. So the thing about whole life insurance is it's generally only wealthy people do it, because it's not cheap. But no different is home ownership versus renting. So when I explained to me why, so for example, what opened my eyes to it was really good friend of mine bought whole life insurance, and then she was able to get, she was locked for her mortgages. All the banks said no more mortgages. As soon as she had whole life insurance, she was able to get 3 more mortgages and refinance her own home. I'm like, okay, now I'm interested.
Yeah.
And since then, like Cherry and I, we have policies now, and one of our plans for next year is to continue to grow our policies. Because again, for anyone interested in building a legacy, like I don't want to have to sell off my assets when I pass from this world. I want my insurance to cover all of that.
Yeah.
Right? So I want to do the most. So I'm trying to do the right thing. So Jason Lowe is going to be our speaker the day of. So he's likely the leading expert on the subject. So he'll talk to that. And also we have Dalia Barsoum, who you know well. She got a brand new presentation. She's like me. She's seeing all the damage that other investment gurus have caused. There's a whole lot of financial hurt out there in terms of people who took on too much debt, and honestly, a lot of bad deals. So she'll be talking about the journey for an investor, how to play it safe and grow your portfolio properly, from like 0 property to eventually doing, like Seth, those 30-unit buildings, 100-unit buildings.
Nice. Yeah, you know what? Like that's one of those things. Like I'm not like I call debt an amplifier, right? Because when you use it the right way, it can amplify your success. But then when you use it the wrong way, it becomes a double-edged sword, and it cuts you down so quick. Mm-hmm. So that's an awesome topic, and Dali is great too. So She'll have an amazing presentation. So like, talk to us about the networking, because like that's one of the things, like, you know, everybody who hears me talk about the multifamily conference, I'm always talking about the importance of face-to-face networking rather than going to like an online event where you're sitting on your pajamas and looking at your phone.
I don't know how you network at an online event.
No, like it's not the same. So like, you know, who's going to be in the crowd? What type of people are coming? Because, you know, I'm looking forward to meeting everybody in the crowd. Like, you never know who you're going to run into. So who's going to be there?
So, not gonna lie, our event's not cheap, which generally means a better group in the room. What's cool about our community, and based on our past events, Cherry and I are pretty agnostic to groups, as in like we're not any part of. No one really sees us as any part of any clique. So, for example, it's like a reunion. All the communities come together. All the Keyspire folks, the Rockstar folks, Rain, Rich Dad. All the groups come together. So it's gonna be a diverse crowd, which I think is wonderful. I think it's wonderful to speak to people who have different training, because that'll grow yourself. And also, for any novice, they have to understand that the tenants are getting together, and like, for example, like Acorn, it's perfectly fine, but they're organizing. Tenants are organizing to battle us. So
Yeah.
it's incredibly important for landlords to know other landlords and to support one another. And straight up, real estate's still not cheap. Even though prices are down like 20-30%, it's still not cheap. So people should be looking to partner up on certain things, right? One of the mistakes of these people that are losing money is they were buying property like really far away, like out of province, because it was cheap, because they can't. But my thing is, why don't you get like 2 or 3 buddies together and buy one property here, where that property you can see, something that's close enough for you to drive to and manage yourselves, right? So we're also going to meet people who are interested in real estate investing, right? Like this Saturday with the Wealth Hacker Conference, right?
Yeah. Well, like you might find a potential deal. Like, you might run into somebody who's looking to sell. You know, you could get a potential deal that way. You might find a potential investor. You might find a potential partner. Like, there's so many different people that you can meet just by getting yourself in the room with other like-minded people. That's why I think it's so important to be there in person and to get your ticket and just put yourself in the room, because you never know what's going to happen.
Exactly. And we have people come from all over the country. So you never know what you're going to learn, who you're going to meet. But, Danielle Unsworth was just my podcast. She took the bus from Ottawa. Like, it was over 6 hours. She even puked on the bus. And at that point, and she'll tell you herself that the Wealth Hacker Conference, she didn't know anything about investing, right? She owned a property as a side hustle, but really it's just a side hustle. Like, nothing. She didn't take it that seriously. It's just like, oh, I heard it's a good thing. I have an extra house, whatever. And now she's invested with other people for a total of 137 units.
Wow, that's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, and that was a catalyst, because her eyes were just opened, right? So again, you never know what event's going to do what. But yeah, I love, and the pandemic's been holding us down for a long time. I can't wait to see everybody. Seth, even for you, it's been a while since I've seen you. So
yeah,
happy to see you in the exhibitors room with all the other sponsors. And our sponsors and I purposely, who I have as sponsors, I handpicked them. So we got everyone under one roof, who pretty much every investor should be working with, right?
Yeah.
I got Front Lobby, I got Equiton. If you want to learn how to do multifamily investing, we got Seth. You know what I mean? We got everybody all under one roof, one day. So
yeah, and that's coming.
It'll be worth, not just return on money is important, return on time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I can certainly vouch for it. Like, the last Wealth Hacker Conference, that was insane. Like, I learned so much. I met so many great people. Like, so much. Like, for me personally, like, so much came out of that. And I know, like, other people that we both know in our networks, like, they got so much of it too. So it's coming up November the 12th, this Saturday in Toronto. And then there's a couple different ticket types. Before we go, just tell us about the different ticket options and what you get. and where people can find them.
We have the entry level, which is just you're sitting at the back of the room, gets you in the room though. So, which is okay. If I'm going to a Leaf game, I don't care where I am. I just want to be in the room. We have the middle, which is premium, which includes you get the recordings afterwards, and you get to sit close to the VIPs, which is great.
Yeah.
VIP is when I go to events, I go to VIP. Seth, I sat right in front of you.
You were front row center.
The whole family conference. Yeah, I was front in the center. I think Kevin earlier was spitting on me as I was that close. There was no one in front of me between me and Kevin. I could have tackled him if I wanted to.
Yeah. Hey, we had security guys in the side. They would have had to step up.
But what was wonderful about the VIP was it really filtered who you were networking with. So I had wonderful conversations with the people sitting around me at the lunch, at the breakfast. It's just, again, I have many friends who do wonderful deals. And again, it's a filter for if you're looking to be with the bigger players, that's where they're going to be sitting.
Yeah, for sure. And like my approach, like, I don't know about you, Erwin, but like when I go to the Wealth Hacker, I'm not going to be looking to spam like 50 people with business cards and just do like the spray and pray. Like literally, like I'm looking for just a handful of people who will make a key impact in my business. Like I'm going laser targeted, looking for very specific types of people because I know what I need in terms of my business and who I need to look for. So like, what's your approach when you're going into network?
I've been around for a while, so I'm usually looking just to reconnect with a lot of people.
Yeah, well, you're a celebrity now, so
nah. I like to meet I'm one of those types that likes to go to meet a lot of the people at the booths. Usually not at break. That's just when it's less busy, because I want to meet them. Because to be honest, if they have a booth, they're probably pretty serious, and that's exactly what I did at your conference. If the talk didn't interest me, like for example, like the accounting talk, I have an accountant. I'm not gonna sit for the accounting talk. I went and spoke to all your vendors, all your sponsors, and again, just seeing people I haven't seen for ages, and just meeting people because again, you never know what's gonna happen. Like a good friend of mine, she was at a VIP at I'll shout them out at Geo's Archangel, for example. She just happened to be sitting in the VIP. And then she chatted to the person next to her, and she got 3 joint ventures out of that person.
See, that's all it takes. And like, you can't do that when you're on Zoom in your pajamas, like eating, like making lunch, and then checking your phone and listening to the presentation. Like, it just doesn't happen that way.
Yeah.
So
totally.
100%. So we've got all the different ticket options. I'll definitely be in VIP. I'm going there. So, and there's a handful left. So if you can do VIP, definitely do VIP. November 12th, this Saturday. Erwin, website is wealthhacker.ca, I think, right? Wealthhacker.ca.
That's correct. Last chance, one word is your discount code.
Last chance.
Is the last chance.
Nice. Okay. Well, Erwin, thank you so much for coming on today and chatting. Like the upcoming recession, or if we're already in a recession, like it's a big topic. And I think you gave some really great advice, not only on the real estate side, but also stocks and overall philosophy. So really appreciate it. And I am really looking forward to seeing you on Saturday on stage.
Thank you, Seth. And I'll say, if people are fearful, you need to see my presentation on where the world is at. It's we are so lucky to be Canadian. It's not even funny. Yeah, I'll just say that.
Yeah, and like you've been around too, so like I really respect your opinion and your take on things, and you've seen a lot. So yeah, really looking forward to it.
Thank you, Seth. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. All right, thanks, Erwin. So thanks for joining us today on Wealth Wednesday. We do this every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we also do multifamily Mondays at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So don't forget to like and comment on this video. Every month we are drawing somebody who likes and comments the video for a free loaded elite ticket to the multifamily conference. And we're going to have some other special prizes to give away as we continue later on this month. So hit the like button, leave a comment, let me know what you think. Thanks so much for your support, and I will see you on Monday for Multifamily Monday. Talk to you soon, and happy investing.